What's the story, Morning Glory? What's the word, Hummingbird? Thank you so much for joining me again on my channel and for another review of Porsha's Family Matters, Dennis the Menace. This episode really should have been called Aho, and so it is, and you'll find out why. So, Lauren is still yelling at the table, telling everybody to shut the hell up about this damn robe. Lena tries to take over, and so she gets up and she's talking to the group. And Lena, who is Lauren's spiritual leader, tells them that the highest form of communication is silence. And then she tells them that in order to kind of gain some type of control, she has this little wooden stick. And she says that whoever holds this may use their throat chakras to share what their intention is. So I'm assuming throat chakras means your voice, your vocal cords. So Aunt Liz, in her confessional, she says that Lena is lost in black folkland and danger, danger, danger. I love Aunt Liz. So basically, she's saying that, Lena has her hands full with these people. That was so funny to me when she said that. Okay, yeah, she's lost in black folkland and danger, danger, danger. So, Aunt Darlene, who is Storm's mother, she takes a little wooden stick and she says, so we're expecting at this moment, because Lena has taken over, so things are about to get really deep, really spiritual. So when Aunt Darlene takes over the little stick, we're expecting her to say something really profound, to release something that's been like buried deep inside of her soul that she's finally letting go, or to just, really bare her soul to everybody. Instead, Aunt Darlene says that she's finally able to let go the insecurities that she's had about her feet. So she says her whole life she's been teased about her feet. And yes, the feet that she uses to walk on, that she puts shoes and socks on, those feet. She says that people have called her feet Incredible Hulk feet. They said that she said that they've been compared to Fred Flintstone feet, because Fred Flintstone uses his feet, to move his little car around across all kinds of rubble and rocks and whatnot. And she says that she's finally been able to let go of all of the insecurities that she's had about her damn feet. Now, that was so shocking to me, because that really made me think that there's something wrong with Aunt Darlene. There's something wrong with her. We need to know what happened to Aunt Darlene. Not only that, but bravo. Why couldn't we see her damn feet? She talks so much about her feet, and her feet has caused her so much pain throughout her whole life and caused her so much insecurity. I wanted to see her feet. I mean, y'all show shots of people wearing shoes that are too small. They got their pinky toes leaning over to the left. Why couldn't we see Aunt Darlene's feet? I wanted to know what they look like, because anything that caused someone so much pain and tribulation that they got to talk about it at a family dinner, yeah, I need to see those feet. So then Aunt Darlene says also she wants to be closer to her daughter Storm. Evidently there's been some type of tension between her and Storm. I don't really know exactly what's going on there, but that's what she said. Aunt Liz. All of a sudden, Aunt Liz says that she doesn't know why she's there. She looks around the table and she's like, I don't know some of these people here. And I was like, oh my God, Aunt Liz is having a senior moment. What's happening here? So she's like, I don't know you and I don't know you. And I guess she was referring to the assistants, Lauren number 2, who is Lauren's assistant, I think, and Dom, who is Porsha's assistant, I think. And so she's like, I don't know who you people are. And I think she was also referring to some of the people on Porsha's mother's side of the family, because Aunt Liz is from her father's side, I think. And so she was like, if we're supposed to be getting closer as a family, then how come people are here who are not even family? And then Storm, she says, she uses her throat chakras to talk about that she wants to cultivate real relationships. And then Dennis interjects and says, well, go hug your mother. And I was like, what? And then Dennis says, go hug your mother. And then Dennis himself, he says that he wants to build a relationship with Simon so they can co-parent together. And I thought that was good. That was a good one, Dennis. Then Storm starts yelling. I don't know what is going on. Every single time Storm and Dennis are in the same room, they go at it. They start yelling at each other, throwing horrible insults at each other. It gets really bad. I don't know if Dennis harbors a lot of anger towards Storm because maybe he thinks that maybe Storm has something to do with the breakup with Porsha, or I don't know if this anger between them is hiding some other type of tension underneath all of that. I don't know, because they don't work together anymore. Dennis is no longer with Porsha. Of course, he's still part of Porsha's life because that's the father of her child. But there's really no reason why Storm and Dennis should have this much animosity towards one another. Dennis cheated on Porsha, and Porsha doesn't give Dennis the kind of anger that Storm gives him. I don't get it. I don't understand at all why they hate each other so much, and it has to show like this. It makes me think that there's something going on there underneath it all. So they start yelling at each other, and then Simon in his confessional, once again, he talks about how Storm used to work for him when she was like 18, 19 years old, and he talks about how she was a horrible employee. We've heard all this before. I don't know why we're hearing it again. That she was a really horrible employee, that he had to fire her 3 times for insubordination, talking crazy to the customers, unprofessionalism. And so then Dennis, he's so upset that he walks up and he leaves. He leaves the dinner entirely. Then, his mother also gets up to leave, but then she kind of turns around and like she has something more to say. And then Dennis was like, no, Mama, we're leaving, let's go. And then his mother is like, no, but I want to, and she's trying to say something. She's trying to get her words out. And Dennis is practically dragging his mother outside the door. And he's like, no, we're leaving, stop, we're leaving. And then Lauren in her confessional was like, I would not let anyone talk to my mother like that. I don't know where Dennis gets off talking to his own mother like that. So then Storm walks away from the table. Porsha walks away from the table to follow Storm. Simon walks away from the table to follow Porsha. So, and I think Lauren is with them as well. And so all of them are talking, and I guess we're talking about the whole situation between Storm and Dennis and I guess, Porsha was trying to calm Storm down and make her feel a little bit better. So, yeah, anyways. So then Porsha and Simon, moving on. Later on that night, the dinner's over. Everyone goes to their respective rooms. Porsha and Simon are together. Now, this is what I got to say about Porsha and Simon. I don't see any chemistry between Porsha and Simon, which is crazy because Porsha is a very sexual person. She's very flirtatious. She's very open about her sexuality. I don't see any chemistry. In fact, when she's with Simon, it's like she turns into like, I don't know what, like a nun or something. It's not the same Porsha. We've seen her be very flirtatious with Dennis. We've seen her be very flirtatious with practically every female in the Real Housewives of Atlanta. She's very out there. But with with Simon, she really isn't. She's like, like a little church lady, a little pious little church lady whenever she's around Simon. I don't get it. I don't see a lot of chemistry between them. Anyways, so Simon tells her that when they get back to Atlanta, he wants her to get rid of all of Dennis's things. He wants anything that Dennis used to own out of that house. And Porsha's like, okay, yeah, okay. But then in her confessional, they asked Porsha, so the Versace robe, whose robe is it? And Porsha says that it's technically Dennis's robe, but now it's hers. She confiscated it. Now it's hers. And I'm just like, Porsha, why are you hanging on to this damn Versace robe? Like, why? Is it because you feel like, I mean, is it because you feel like, well, I'm always going to have a hold on Dennis because he's always going to want his role back. So as long as I don't give it to him, but you have a child that that's going to cause her to interact with each other. Why are you hanging on to this damn Versace robe and you're engaged to someone else's husband? You're about to get married to someone else's husband. Why are you still hanging on to this damn Versace robe? I don't get it. I really don't get it. Hopefully later on we'll find out why. So he tells her that when they go back, he wants her to get rid of all of Dennis's stuff from her home. And he also tells her that he wants her to tell Mama Gina to kind of butt out of their family affairs, out of their family business. He thinks that Mama Gina is just too much involved, Dennis's mother. Now, I don't see her as being that much involved. I don't really see her like being all deep in it. I don't really see that. I mean, she's very protective of her son. Her son still has to be around Porsha and her family because of a little PJ. So the mother is always going to be protective of her son. I don't think the mother cares too much about what's going on with the family. She just cares about her child. And obviously Dennis and his mother have a very close relationship. And so she's just very concerned about her son. I really don't see her meddling too much into their. In fact, Porsha invited the mother to this trip. So, and this was after the mother told her, you were cheating on my son as well as him cheating on you. So, anyways, moving on. So the next morning, Dennis and Simon are having breakfast together. They have a very good man-to-man talk, and they both agree that they need to, build a relationship because they're going to be raising little Pilar together. So they're both on the same page with that about the whole co-parenting of Pilar. And I really enjoyed that scene of Simon and Dennis together. It was very civil. It was very respectful, man to man, talking about some serious business. I really enjoyed that whole scene. And then Dennis tells Simon that when he gets a chance, he wants Simon to tell Porsha he wants his role back. And he also tells Simon that he's going to be bringing a date. And of course, Simon is cool with that because then he doesn't have to worry about Dennis sniffing around Porsha, because I'm pretty sure Simon hears the rumors or the little innuendos or the little jokes about Porsha and Dennis possibly still having feelings for each other. I'm pretty sure he hears that. So when Dennis said he's bringing a date, of course Simon is all for it because then, he can stay the hell away from his woman. Then there's meditation with Lauren and Lena. So there's this meditation session, and it's involving Lauren, Londi, Dennis, and Aunt Liz. Okay, so they're meditating. Everything goes well with that. And then at the very end of it, Dennis tells Lauren that the next session that they have, he would really like his mother to be invited as well. I don't know if he was throwing shade to his mother, kind of like, my mom is so crazy and she's so out there, she needs to meditate, or if he was like being, looking out for his mother as in, hey, I want my mom involved in some of these activities. So then Londi tells Lauren, we're moving on, Londi tells Lauren that Dennis has a girl coming, and simultaneously while this is happening, we can see the work showing up because Dennis refers to his women as work. I don't know if it's because he's working towards a relationship with them, or I don't know why he calls them work. I missed that part. So we see that the work has shown up. She shows up at the resort. She's giving Dennis a hug. Everything is all whatever with that. So then the whole group has a trip to take to something called the cenote something. The cenote is like this watering hole, and it's a very sacred place. It's a very sacred Mayan place, and there's rumors that there's like, body parts like bones and skulls or whatever else of, I guess, Mayan Indians, I'm assuming, in this watering hole. And so it's supposed to be like a sacred place where you perform this cleansing ritual to cleanse your spirit of negativity, negative energy, whatever you want to call it. So the whole group arrives, everybody's there, and they start off, Lena has them starting off with, meditation. And she says that each person has to state what they want to let go of. And then after they state it, the group will clap and say, "Aho," and so it is. So Londi goes first. She says she wants to release anger and work on patience. And of course, the anger that she's referring to is the anger towards Storm. Because at the previous night's dinner, Storm and Londi were going at it too. Because, Londi is all team Dennis. And so when someone goes after Dennis, you're practically going after Londi. So Londi and Storm were going at it as well. And so she says she wants to release all of this anger and tension, and then I'm assuming she was referring to Storm, and find patience. So after she says that, everybody claps and says, aho, and so it is. So you say it, you're manifesting it, and so it is. And so then Aunt Darlene, she goes next. Aunt Darlene, I got to read my notes on this because a lot happened. Aunt Darlene says that she wants to let go of the years that she wasn't present for her daughter because she was busy with business. Aunt Darlene, what kind of business were you busy with? What does that mean? Because Aunt Darlene does not strike me as an entrepreneur or an entrepreneur of legal things. She doesn't strike me as someone who was like running her own business, CEO of this or that. She doesn't strike me that way. Aunt Darlene, what business were you involved in? Were you involved in business, or were you involved in business somewhere behind some metal bars? Where were you? What business were you involved in? Because Aunt Darlene is special. She's strange. She's a strange one. So she says she wants to apologize to her daughter for not really being there for her. And then Darlene asked Storm for a second chance to be the best mom that she can be. Where were you, Aunt Darlene, where you got to ask your daughter for a second chance to be a better? Were you addicted to something? Were you on the pipe? Were you away behind bars? Where were you, Aunt Darlene? So Porsha tells Storm, go hug your mom. She's asking for you. Because Aunt Darlene says that, because she talks about how, yes, I want a second chance to be a better mom to my daughter because I was away somewhere. She was away. She was gone far, far away. And then she says, I also want to add that, my daughter does not receive affection well. She says, when I want a hug from her, she doesn't really give me a hug. She just kind of gives me a little pat. And so then Porsha goes, go hug your mother. So Storm was very reluctant to go hug her mother. And I'm pretty sure because it was like a very vulnerable moment, and someone like Storm probably doesn't like to feel any type of vulnerability. So she didn't really want to do it right away. So people kept on encouraging her to go hug her mom. And so when she stood up to go hug, she barely touched her mother. Aunt Darlene just completely fell back, like the Holy Ghost caught a hold of her, and she just started wailing and yelling and shouting and just got real, like, how you see people, how they react in church, like when the Holy Ghost and the Holy Spirit gets a hold of them, and they're just like flopping around in the wind, and you can't do anything to control it because their spirit has been taken over. So Aunt Darlene was like in that type of a trance. As soon as like Storm, they didn't even hug, y'all. I could understand if Storm had like gotten a really good grip of her and then the mother was just releasing all of this repressed emotion that she was having. But no, Storm barely touched her and she just kind of lost it. And she just starts wailing. Aunt Liz had to like hold her before she fell down to the ground. It was very interesting. So they go ahead and they actually do hug. She does hug her mother, and Storm just seemed really, really embarrassed by this whole show that her mom was putting on, and then she walks away and she was just like, what, I can't. And Aunt Darlene is like, thank you, Jesus, thank you, Jesus. It was very, very strange. What is going on between Storm and her mother Darlene? And where was Aunt Darlene for her to not be a part of Storm's life? Because it does seem like there's like a disconnect between Storm and her mother, like a serious disconnect. Very interested in that. Okay, moving on. Aunt Liz, she says that she wants to release all the ghosts of the civil rights movement, the lynchings, the beatings, the murders, all the things that still haunt her. And so we get like a little bit of history of Aunt Liz. Her father was a part of Martin Luther King's inner circle, I think. And so she was really there front and center as a child to the whole civil rights movement. And I know that during that time, I know that she saw a lot of things that children should not have been witness to, living in the South, being part of the movement, being in the middle of all of that chaos. when Black people were just fighting to have equal rights. I know that she probably has seen a lot of things that, that still haunt her. I totally believe that. And I can understand how those kind of things can keep her up at night and really, really, truly haunt her. And so she was just asking for a release of all of that. And Porsha even got emotional and started crying because I think Porsha's grandfather, I don't know if that was Darlene's father. Portia's grandfather, as we all know, was a huge part of the civil rights movement as well. So Mama Gina, Dennis's mother, she says that she wants to give the negative part of her that doesn't allow her to be forgiving, and she also asks for forgiveness. So whatever part of her that doesn't allow her to forgive, she wants to go ahead and release all of that. Dennis says that he wants to let go of things that are not important and put more focus on his daughter. Porsha says that she has no issues with anyone there except for Mama Gina. So Porsha really took to heart the thing that Mama Gina, okay, if Porsha, it really bothered her that Mama Gina, when they have their little lunch together before they left for the trip, when she accused Porsha of cheating on her son Dennis, and that it was her mother, Porsha's mom, that told her that. So Porsha really took that to heart. Now, I would agree with Porsha if she was upset that Mama Gina lied on her mother. Like, I don't care if you thought that I was cheating. Number one, Dennis and Porsha were not even married yet. They were just engaged. I'm not saying that it's okay to cheat if you're not married, but you know what? Some people believe, hey, if you ain't married, you ain't cheating. So they weren't even legally married. So whatever about that, who cares? But if Porsha's issue, it's like if you were not cheating on Dennis, don't worry about the mother thinking that you were cheating on Dennis. Who cares if that's, and if you were cheating on Dennis, maybe, some people can give you a pass because Dennis was cheating on you. And there's evidence of that happening. So I don't understand what the big deal is. Or is the big deal that she was lying on your mother? Or is the big deal, Porsha, that you're mad at your mom for revealing some secrets about you? Because you're really angry about that whole conversation that you had with Aunt Gina, but then you still Mama Gina, and then you still invite her over to this whole Mexico trip. So I don't understand that. So she's really hanging on to that. Are you upset that your mother exposed you? Or are you upset that this woman is lying about your mother? Well, why don't you say exactly what you're mad at? And if you were not cheating, who cares if Mama Gina thinks you were cheating? Who cares if you didn't do it? If you know what I would tell every single time that someone accuses you of doing something like this. This is just in general, not just to Porsha, but just in general, especially to these reality TV people. If someone accuses you of doing something you didn't do, ask them, prove it, show it, show me, where's your evidence that I did these things? Okay, moving on. So Porsha says that she's not really upset with no one because, except for Mama Gina. She still has an issue with Mama Gina. She's still upset about the conversation that they had, and she still has not forgiven Mama Gina for what she said. In her confessional, Porsha says that when she and Dennis are broke up, she was mad at Dennis for cheating, and she felt as if Mama Gina should also have been mad at Dennis for cheating. Okay, that's stupid. Dennis is her son. Whatever Dennis tells her, most likely she's going to believe it, because let's not forget when Dennis and Porsha started dating and we were seeing scenes of Porsha going to the hot dog factory, it was pretty evident that Mama Gina was not feeling Porsha. So why would Mama Gina all of a sudden take your side, Porsha, over her own son? Why would she do that? Her son is supporting her. I'm pretty sure that, the hot dog business is primarily Dennis's. I don't think it's the mother's primarily. Her son is supporting her, taking care of her. She believes that the sun rises and sets on Dennis. So why would the mother automatically believe you over her own child? And if he was caught cheating, I'm pretty sure whatever story he told his mother, the mother's going to believe it. Why would the mother side with you and not her own child? So why would you expect her to be upset with you and start this, anti-Dennis campaign with you? And that's her own son who is financially supporting her. What are you doing for her? So I thought that was really super for her to say that she's mad at her because she wasn't as mad at Dennis as she was when he got caught cheating. Lauren says that she wants to forgive Porsha for their working relationship and that she felt underappreciated and undervalued by Porsha. I believe it. I totally believe it. That when Lauren and Porsha were working together, that Porsha probably took full advantage of Lauren. Porsha seems to me like someone who's a little bit self-entitled. She feels like people should want to do things for her for the simple fact of wanting to do things for Porsha. People should be happy that they can run around and do things for her, pick up her dirty clothes, take care of her businesses, babysit her child, clean her house, do her hair. People should be grateful that they have that she's given them the grace, the permission to do these things for her. That's how Porsha comes off to me. Like she's she's like a lot self-entitled. So I know that when Lauren was working for her, Lauren felt overworked and undervalued. And Porsha probably felt like Lauren shouldn't complain because I'm giving her a job and I'm paying her. So yeah, I totally believe Lauren when she says that. Porsha says it in her confessional. She says in her confessional that, Lauren makes her look like the big bad wolf, and somehow because she's the bad guy, this is somehow empowering Lauren. Yeah, she felt Lauren finally got the guts and the backbone to tell you no, the buck stops here and I'm not going to be, your little servant anymore. So yeah, Lauren should feel empowered when she finally broke away from you in that business relationship. Family dinner time. So this is, they're having another family dinner. Okay, Porsha shows up. Everyone is already seated. The only people missing are Dennis and his work. So everyone is there. And Porsha, for the second time in this episode, tells everybody how colorful they look. And because when they got on the bus to go to the cenote, she's like, oh my God, everybody's so colorful. And then at this dinner, oh my God, everybody's so colorful. So Lauren she pulls Porsha aside and she finally breaks the news to Porsha that Dennis has brought a date and the date has arrived and she's on the property. She is on the premise. The date is here. And Lauren is like really hesitant to tell Porsha, and she's like all scared and timid to tell Porsha that Dennis's date has arrived. And I'm just like, what is the big freaking deal about Dennis bringing a girl to this Mexican resort? Who the hell cares? I don't get it. Do y'all not expect Dennis to move on? Everyone is so intimidated. Oh my God, when Porsha finds out that Dennis brought a date, when Porsha finds out, who cares that he brought a date? So Porsha took it very well. She was like, oh, really? And then Lauren says, yeah. And Simon knows about it. And Portia's like, well, you know what? I am so like dealing with the consequences of Dennis's toxic mother. And now I see that Dennis is toxic as well. Why is Dennis toxic? If he wasn't toxic before for cheating on you, why is he toxic now because he brought a date? Like, why is he toxic? He's moving on with his life. Okay, I can see why you think his mother is toxic, but why is Dennis toxic? I didn't get that. And then why are we using the word toxic? You don't like his mother because she accused you of cheating on her son. That's not being toxic. That's just, it is what it is. That's why you don't like her. So Lauren, okay, we talked about that. And the funny thing about me is like everybody is always so worried about Porsha being mad. No one wants to upset Porsha because if you upset Porsha, it just cuts you off. But this is so strange for me to see because on the Real Housewives of Atlanta, Porsha is like damn near bottom of the totem pole. Nobody takes her seriously at all. They just kind of see her as some kind of a ditz. So it's funny how in her family, she's like this person, like this mafia leader. And everyone is just like, oh my God, don't make Porsha mad. Let's not make Porsha mad. It's just really funny to me. So then everyone asks Gina, because Lauren and Porsha, they're having a little side conversation out in the shadows. And so at the dinner table, they're asking Gina, Mama Gina, so where's Dennis? And she's like, well, Dennis has a friend. He's meeting up with Dennis has a guest. He's meeting up with his guest. And it's also the guest's birthday, so he's like treating his guest. And so then Lauren and Porsha come back, and Lauren's assistant, Lauren, asked, well, or was it, no, it was Aunt Darlene. Aunt Darlene asked, well, if Dennis has a guest, are they coming to dinner or something? Because there was like two extra seats at the table. And I don't know what was said, what the answer was about that. And then Aunt Gina was like, well, are we going to wait for them before we start eating? And Porsha was like, absolutely not. You know, we have appetizers coming. We're not waiting for a damn thing. You know, dinner's going to go on time. And, so then Lauren says in her confessional that, yeah, Porsha is angry, but she's not angry at the fact that Dennis brought a date. That's not the real reason why she's angry. Porsha said that the underlying, no, she said, what did she say? Let me see what she said. She said, Lauren's really upset about Dennis bringing a date. Simon doesn't need to see this. Oh, yeah. So Lauren was saying that Portia's not angry about Dennis's mother. She's not mad about what Mama Gina said about her cheating or whatever. Lauren says that Portia's really upset about Dennis bringing a date, and that Simon cannot see Porsha upset about Dennis bringing a date. This is not concerning. Okay, if everyone believes that Porsha still harbors these feelings towards Dennis, then why are y'all encouraging, or why are y'all allowing her to get married to someone else's husband? I don't understand that at all. If y'all believe that she is still deeply, madly in love with Dennis, then why haven't y'all gotten together to tell her you can't marry Fallon's husband because you're still in love with... I don't understand what's going on here. I don't get it. So they're just going to sit back and watch Porsha get married when, I guess, Simon finally gets a divorce. They're going to sit back and just watch Porsha get married to Simon, even though they all know and believe that she's still in love with Dennis. Okay. I see. So Lauren thanks Lena for her services, because I guess this is Lena's last night and she's going to be leaving. And Aunt Liz in her confessional, oh, good old Aunt Liz. Aunt Liz in her confessional says that Lena needs to teach Lauren how to not only open up old wounds, but she also needs to teach Lauren how to heal old wounds, because Lauren is really good at I guess, at having people open up their all of their, their deepest, darkest secrets, but she doesn't know how to heal them yet. And so Liz was like, yeah, Lena needs to teach her how to do that. That was funny. So then Storm shares a story about being in a very abusive relationship. And then for whatever reason, Londi, and I thought this was kind of rude, Londi interjected and said, so where does all your aggression come from? So here we have Storm saying that she was in this relationship with this guy, I guess, and it was very toxic and it was very abusive, because I think they were talking about how she doesn't show any emotion. She goes, I'm not an emotional person. I cry on the inside. And so then she starts telling this story about this abusive relationship, and she's being very vulnerable. And then Londi was like, excuse me, I don't mean to interrupt, but can you explain to me why you have so much aggression in you? And so Storm got upset because Londi interrupted her. And also she was like, you're bringing up my aggression, or you're bringing up, my issues when I'm telling y'all about being a victim of this abusive relationship. So you're using my what did she say? You're using my story of being victimized to bring up my aggression. And I was like, yes, Storm, good point. Yeah. Like, Londi, what are you doing? We understand that you don't like Storm, but this is not the place or the time to talk about her, bucking up to you when she's trying to talk about something that's like so personal and so intimate. Like, what are you doing, Londi? And so Lauren was like, you know what, Londi, you need to apologize to Storm. And Londi was like, I will not. That's not happening. And so then they're kind of going back and forth on that again. And then finally, I guess they just come to terms with just agreeing that, neither one of them wants to be triggered by the other. So when this was going on, when Storm and Londi were going back and forth, Porsha was defending Storm and saying that, Londi, you were wrong for interrupting her. And in her confessional, Londi said Porsha is always taking Storm's side. Well, I can see why. Now, this particular incident, Porsha had the right to take Storm's side because Storm was sharing something very personal, and people needed to show her respect and let her talk. But for the most part, I do see that Porsha is very protective of Storm and is always, on her side. And I think it's because of the fact that Storm looks up to Porsha a lot. Storm sees Porsha, like she's, I don't know what, like the Queen of England or something. She really, really admires Porsha. And even Dennis says that Storm thinks that she's Porsha, or that Storm wants to be Porsha, or something like that. So that's the reason why I think Porsha is like always showing favoritism to Storm, because Storm is her number one fan, and Porsha likes the attention. She likes to be the center of attention. She likes to be treated like she's, I don't know what, the second coming of the Lord or something. So that's where it ended. That was a very good episode, I must say. There was a lot. I am very interested in Aunt Darlene. I cannot get enough of Aunt Darlene, and I cannot get enough of Aunt Liz. Aunt Liz is a riot. And Porsha harboring feelings for Dennis, I don't understand it. And if I was Simon and I watched back, I watched these episodes, if I was Simon, I'd be highly, highly pissed off. Highly pissed, because they're making him look like a damn fool. They're making him seem like you're jeopardizing your whole entire reputation because you're still married to Fallon. You're jeopardizing your whole entire reputation as a man to be with this woman who is still in love with her ex-boyfriend who sells hot dogs. Okay, but I know he's like a millionaire. I get it. So thank you so much for joining me. If you made it this far, I appreciate you so, so, so much. And please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll talk to you later.